Big data analysis is something which we can say, right? Big data is a huge volume of the data, magnanimous volume, constantly changing also. So it has and it flows through at very fast speed across the network, right? It has velocity and different variety information assets that can help in enhanced insights and decision making, right? All of it, whenever we say data science is generated just to utilize the data and creating improvised decisions out of the data itself, right? So if we have to create improvised decisions out of the data, we have to create a large scale decision making tool, then we have to analyze a large scale or large amount of the data which is constantly flowing through also, right? So big data is something which has a very large volume, right? Quantity is quite high. Large volume would mean constantly adding on to it also, or we can say multimedia, one video, information in that particular video. Now one video is say of 1 hour, shot in 4K, right? Geographical information, nature based information, societal information, cultural information, financial information, all of it is being given in that particular video. And a movie is being made, or a documentary is being made for a particular, say a documentary made over the utility of Aadhaar based systems in India, right? Now that will have everything: geographical data, landscape data, social data, economic data, all of it would be presented in that particular video. The presenter would try to bring in all those things together, right? That would become a huge volume of the data. Different data are being clubbed together, huge volume of the data. Now utilize that data, extract the values out of data and utilize this in improving the overall subsets of the services which are being provided, right? So this becomes, or that amount of the data becomes big data, because that will have a large volume, 2 GB, 5 GB is small data, in TBs if that data is being given, of course, right? Volume, it will have a large value also. Utility can be generated, different values can be extracted out of the data itself. It will have a veracity. Veracity would mean the overall differences, that means, or we can say distinguishing factors in a data, different things in the data. Then it will have a large visualization, graphical representation, communication would be higher. Data visualization is the data communication, the data which is being utilized to portray something, right? So it will have a big visualization or large scale graphics. It will have variety, different data, financial, healthcare, banking, network. These are different varieties of the data, right? It will have velocity. It flows through the network at a very high speed. The data transmission rate is very high, right? And virality, right, is being utilizable, is being utilized or is being viewed upon by a large mass. Virality, right? So big data is something which is a huge volume of the data which is being analyzed and utilized for decision making and understanding the insights in that particular data is termed as a big data. And when analysis for this data has been generated, it is termed as big data analysis, right? When we understand the big data, or when we try to define, there are various terms. Initially 6 V's of rather 4 V's of data analysis or big data were defined, then 7 V's were defined, then 8 V's are defined. So we are trying to summarize all these V's that we have in big data. The 7 V's of big data are: it has a large value. That means just having big data is of no use unless we can turn into a value, right? Rather, so value would mean that the utility which can be generated out of this particular data, right? It has a very fast velocity. It helps to define the speed at which the data is generated, right? Constantly generated, speed at which it is being generated. Like for example, now you look up to Aadhaar based system. Aadhaar is being used in banking transaction, is used in mobile phones, is used for direct benefit transfer of subsidies, all of it. Now every minute we have many mobile phone based calls which are being created, there are many online transactions which are being created. So this is the speed at which the data is being generated, right? Constantly, as the utility for the data increases, the velocity of its generation and velocity of its transmission also increases. Though transmission would be dependent upon the network capability, but generation would be dependent upon the services which are being generated or utilities which are being generated out of data, right? So velocity of the big data would meant by the speed at which it is being generated. The different types, what are different types of the data? That is meant by the variety of the data which is being created, right? Then veracity, the trustworthiness of the data in terms of accuracy, how accurate the data which is being generated, right? Then visualization, the data in a manner which is readable or accessible, how it is utilizable, or what are different types of the communications which are being generated out of that data. Variability, the data whose meaning is constantly changing, right? Constantly changing. One time it is the data related to mobile, other time it is data related to banking, other time it is data related to healthcare, other time it is data related to telecommunication, another time it is data related to networking, etc., etc., right? Variability. Next, volume, the size of the data. These are 7 V's of the data which are being taken up. In this, one more is being added upon, and we have 8 or 9 V's of data, right? Volume we have seen, velocity we have seen, variety we have seen, veracity we have seen, accuracy, right? Value, how useful that particular data is, right? Whether utilizable or not. Then validity, what is the quality of the data? The governance, most data management on massive, right? Governance, master data management on massive. Large amount of the data which is utilizable for governance, that defines the validity. For, we can say, this will also define the timeline, or this will also be a quantification of the timeline for which a particular data would be utilizable. Like for example, public distribution of services based data, PDS based data would be utilizable for large duration, because it would be utilizable for intangible terms, right? It would be utilizable for n number of times the services or the utilities which are being generated, right? So that would become a greater validity of the data also. Then it will have a variability, right? That means the dynamics, the evolving behavior in data sources, the variability would be higher. Then the venue at which the data has been generated, distributed heterogeneous data from multiple platforms, right? Venue, location based services also, different platforms, Jandan Aadhaar based data, Jam Trinity based data. Because Jandan Aadhaar is linked to various things, insurance, healthcare, distribution of subsidies, gas, then Aadhaar based vaccination also nowadays, right? So different things, or even in case of disease. So where or from which platform, from healthcare platform, from subsidy platform, from banking platform, from, we can say, the market based platforms, from asset management platform, all of this, etc., 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 right? So that means from where this particular data has been generated. Then vocabulary, data models, understanding, the machine based understanding or semantics that describes the data structure, the basic machine based output that defines the data structure is vocabulary. Then vagueness is the confusion over meaning of big data and the tools which are to be utilized, right? It is, of course, when the data is to be analyzed and such large quantity of the data is to be analyzed, then there would be confusion relative to how this particular data would be managed, how this particular data would be utilized, right? So these are the 8 V's or 9 V's that we have. In fact, 10 V's that we have in big data, or we can say these are different types of the characteristics of the big data. Big data has a large volume, it has a large velocity, it has a large variety, it has a large veracity, it has a very large value which is being generated. Then it has a very large validity, the quality is high, the utility is high, extent up to which it would be utilizable is high. Variability, right, it is dynamic in nature, it keeps on changing, right? Venue, it is generated from various different platforms and n number of platforms. Vocabulary, it has different models and basic understandings by the machines or the computers. And then it will have vagueness, that means it will have a large scale confusion also. That is meant by big data, right? When we look up to the types of big data, then there are 3 types of big data which are being defined. The 3 different types of the data, big data, are unstructured big data, structured big data and semi-structured big data. Unstructured data that does not reside in fixed locations generally refers to free form text, which is universal, right? When we have a free form of the text, universal free form of the text which is being generated, that remains as unstructured data. It remains stored in the databases or the data warehouses or the enterprise systems. This is not very well structured. This is not very well classified. Right? The structured data that resides in the fixed fields within a record or a file. Right? When we structure, index the data, structure it, it remains in as the analog data which is being generated. Like the GPS tracking information, audio, visual, video streams, we have the structures of it which is being generated, examples of it. Then we have the semi-structured, which is between two forms of the two forms where tags or the structures are associated or embedded within the unstructured data. When we put in some amount of the tags, this particular data for this, this is for this, this is for this, at least that tag has been created, not exactly properly structured but partially structured, like the email systems, EDI, etc., electronic data interchanges, etc. These are something where we have the semi-structured big data which is being created. So for example, we can say this is the example of it, the structured data. When the data has been stored for data analysis, etc., over Oracle or SQL servers where data management or the data science based platforms are being created, Excel sheets, Teradata, etc., they are being created. Unstructured data available over social media is the example of unstructured data which is available over the enterprise platforms, they are structured data. Right, and enterprise softwares, etc., they are structured data. Semi-structured data, weather forecasting related, shopping related, finance related, which are partially being structured, not exactly structured or not completely defined or predefined. That remains as the unstructured data also. Right. The tools which are being utilized in big data or big data analysis, we can define the major technological tools which are being utilized for big data analysis. They are the Hadoop. Hadoop is one of the largest tool which is being utilized right now for the analysis of big data, because it helps to hold the big data also and it helps to manage the big data also. So Apache Hadoop, where 75% of the world's data is available. But precisely when you say the big data, then utility is developed over Hadoop only. Apache Spark is considered as the next generation big data tool. It is lightning fast and 100 times faster than Hadoop. Right, and then we have the Apache Flink, which is the 4G of big data, fourth generation of big data. Right, it is an open source and can handle streaming as well as batch data. So that data can be managed over here over Flink itself. Right, the tools which are being utilized basically in big data analysis, they are the discovery tools, which are useful throughout the information life cycle. Right, for rapid, intuitive, and exploration and analysis of the information, right? That constantly is being used. These tools permit analysis alongside traditional big data analytics source systems also. So they are the constant tool, the backbone tool where constant analysis takes place with the big data, right? Then we have the BI tools, which is important for reporting, analysis, performance management, primarily with the transactional data. Right, banking and transactional data, if it is being created, then BI tools are being utilized. Hadoop, useful for pre-processing data to identify macro trends or the nuggets of the information, so that mining can be proper with the data itself. Enables businesses to unlock potential values and new data using inexpensive, commonly commodity servers also. Then we have database analytics, which covers the variety of techniques for finding patterns and relations in the data, right? So mining in big data has been taken up with in database analytics. And then the decision management systems that we have, right, which covers predictive modeling and business rules and self-learning, right? So ultimately big data analysis, when we define, then big data analysis is nothing but what we have seen. Basically, we have a large volume of the data, right, which is interconnected in big data analysis, if you understand. Right? We have a large volume of the data which is interconnected, right? So Basically, big data is a 10V data that we have seen: volume, variety, volatility, velocity, all of this. The 10V data, right, which is constantly being generated, and we have to extract more values, or we have to extract outputs of it, or we have to generate an analysis out of it, so that better services can be provided, better correlation of the data can be generated, so that we can generate better utilities of the data, better services can be provided over ICT platform, right? The decision making using ICT tools can also be made easier, right? So practically this has been created, big data analysis. This will have all the tools which we have seen with data science. Now you understand why we have seen data science and analysis first, because before understanding those, we would not be able to understand the exact meaning of big data analysis, which precisely involves analysis, data analysis, mining, visualization, how the data is to be presented, what type of the data it is, and how it is to be presented. That would be only come through the data visualization tools only, right? So that can be generated with the help of big data analysis. It is a tool of data science only, which involves all different things that we have taken, or just the nature of the data is big, volume is high, velocity is high, value is high, volatility is high. All of this is constantly changing, right? So when the analysis or the analytics of this type of the data has been generated, obviously the output would also be very huge. Like for example, the Jan Dhan Aadhaar based data itself, if we say Jam Trinity data in the country, right? We have Jan Dhan data, we have Aadhaar based data, and we have mobile based data. This itself is a huge volume of the data. Now the Jan Dhan data, that is banking data, would then be utilizable with transactions that we have. Now transactions for goods and services, which will constantly be changing. Every time there would be a transaction relative to a particular good, that would be recorded over the Jan Dhan, that would also be recorded over Aadhaar, that would also be linked with mobile. This is one set of the data which is being created. What does it mean? That using the mobile phone itself, we can understand the type of the goods which are being provided. What does it mean? This will provide another digital marketing tool also, that you have purchased Bata shoes, right? On the same line, on the same cost, shoes are also available from this particular company, right? Similar patterns or similar designs of the tool, or more designs of they can be presented over here on the mobile. Now you have not registered through the mobile, you have not gained that thing from e-commerce, but information is given to you on your mobile. How it came? It came from the Jan Dhan based thing, right? From the Aadhaar based thing, right? Now Aadhaar itself is linked to various things, right? To identity, to healthcare, to insurance, to banks, to mobile phones, right? Everything would be interlinked. So there are multiple interlinked services. There are multiple interlinked services which are being generated when we have such large systems of ICT which are being generated. Right? Now you imagine Jan Dhan, Aadhaar plus mobile, n number of utilities over here into 125 crore individuals in India. This is also constantly increasing. This is also constantly increasing. So there is a huge volume of the data which is being generated, and there could be multiple predictive analysis that can be developed so as to provide better services. better governance, improvised governance, citizen requirements can be fulfilled in a better way. How to do that? That can only be done when we have a large scale analysis which is being generated out of the data itself. From the data itself, when the large scale utility is being generated, large scale analysis is being generated. So that's why big data analysis is the next thing, is biggest thing, right? In any field we say, it is the biggest thing that would be utilized, because every field would be generating. When every field is getting over ICT, it is coming over machines. Machines are communicating themselves. There is automation, there is simulation everywhere. There is semantic, everything is converting into semantic applications. Robots have utilities, ICT system has utilities, artificial intelligence is coming up. When all of this is coming up, that means a large scale data utility would be generated. And when a large scale data utility would be generated, this would mean that eventually we will have a large scale data analysis utility which is also being generated. That is what is termed as big data analysis. Large scale data, its utility generated for which analysis is required, that is big data analysis, right? So what should be the basic meaning of big data analytics? Big data analytics would involve the intent or the context of strategic, tactical and operational decision management, right? Understand what different types of the data and operations are required and creating decisions for management of such type of the data. Second, the process relevancy, right? What type of the process is being utilized in big? One is intent. Intent is to understand what different types of the data and how decisions are to be created for that, out of that particular data. Next is the process. What different types of the processes you would require, right? That is also the second part of big data analytics, where relevancy of big data and analytics to role, responsibilities and outcome, predicting all of this. This could come up from the process of the big data analysis. Then where it is to be utilized, or what would be the final outcome, or what would be the beneficiary of it. People, alignment of organization and cultural norms with the use of big data and analytics. People would be basically, they would be influxers of data and the beneficiaries of the data itself. They would generate the data, that data would be influxed into big data analytics system, and then they will gain the output of it also, the benefit out of it also, when integrated services are being provided, right? Then it will also help to create data governance. It also has the data governance and life cycle management of large scale data, constant monitoring of the data, management of the data, data privacy, its integrity can be managed, because we have seen in data analytics itself we have data cleaning, which helps to maintain the integrity of the data. The comprehensiveness of the data can be maintained with the help of the data auditing or data cleaning itself. So data governance can be easy with data analytics. Understand the nature of the data, sort. This is the particular data which must remain private. This is the data which is not so private. This can be brought over public platform, but this never should be brought over public platform. So there would be scrutiny which can be generated. Data security can be generated. Data governance and data management can also be improvised over here with the help of this. So data governance. Technology involved into this. Right. Focus would be given on hardware, software and services for economical supply of relevant data and analytics. That would also be taken up over here. So technology relative to this. All of this would be meant over here with the data analytics. It will help to understand, it will identify the decisions which are to be created from data, the processes, management and the governance of the data, development of different types of the technologies, software, hardware, etc. Right. And then the people which are influxers of the data and gainers of the data, managing them also. So all of this is maintained in big data analytics. When we understand the basic benefit of the big data analytics, the major benefit says that mostly 40% of the people have said that it will have an increased efficiency. When data analytics is being done properly and large scale data analytics is being done, then the utility would be higher, efficiency would be higher. Better business and decision making can be improvised. for by managing the data itself. Then it will have improved customer experience and engagement also. Customers can be very well engaged because multiple services will be provided for them. Then achieved financial savings also, benefits for the finances which are being gained, right? Then better decision making, greater innovations, improvement in education sector, etc. We'll see how it is useful. Product price optimization, right? Recommended engines or the searches can be improvised over here. Life-saving applications in healthcare industry, where we have seen how data analytics or data science is helping it. In the same way, big data would be utilizing it. So big data analysis would help to capture the data, process the data, analyze the data, and visualize the data in a larger canvas. The way we are expecting it with the data itself, now big data analysis would do it in a much larger canvas. So the benefits out of the big data analysis would be higher. The major tools which are being utilized constantly with big data analysis, the tools, OpenRefine is one of the major tool. K9, we have seen this tool in data mining also. This is a major data mining tool. Rapid Miner also, we have used seen this in data mining. Google Fusion tables, etc. Node Excel, Wolfram Alpha, Google Search Operator. This is also one of the most important tool over which the Google services have been developed. Now you imagine this thing. Google provides Android-based devices and capture data from Android-based devices, and based on the data which is being captured from the location services of Android-based devices, the movement of the Android-based device. When cars move, when there is an Android-based device, there is always a connection of that particular device or the Android-based phone with the Google servers. And every time the Google server receives the location services from these mobile phones which are kept in car, which are moving. Now you see, what is big data analysis over here? There are say 2000 cars running over a road, right? Now the speed at which that car is moving, or the speed at which that device is constantly displacing, that information is being given to this, right? Now that information is immediately processed, captured, analyzed, processed. Analysis of it is being generated, and then immediately visualization of it is being generated. What is that visualization? You see that on a navigator, on the Google map, the navigator that you use, right? Constant movement that defines the traffic flow, the rate at which the traffic is flowing, the rate at which each car is moving. That algorithm would generate the rate at which your car would also move, right? So the free flow of the traffic, blue, red, green, all of it is being presented over the map itself. The time, estimated time that you will take, that you are moving from this point to this point, the basic traffic flow is at this particular rate, then you will also take this particular time to reach up to this particular point. So from this point to this point you will reach in that. Then routes, right? Which car has taken which route, that is also analyzed. If there is an obstruction in any area, the car is diverted, it will give an information that there is an obstruction over here, you must take up this route. The best route is this, not this one, because there is congestion. So you take up this route. So possible routes, all of these prediction, they are being taken up. That is the largest big data analysis tool. This is big data analysis. So Google search operators, solvers, Dateku DSS and Tableau. Tableau is also, we have seen, for the graphical representation of in the data sciences it is being utilized, right? So these are different tools. Now understanding how big data analysis is utilizable in different fields, that would be far more important for us.